I am so excited to be interviewing my next guest all the way from Queensland, Australia, my dream destination. I know one day we will be meeting. Maybe I'll be traveling there with our friend Deslin Hockius. Her name is Sandy Davies. Parenting can be tough, but Sandy loves being, I love this, a purveyor of happiness, even in those moments of parenting that leave us questioning our sanity. Sandy Davies is the Kansas-born. Yeah, at first I thought you're from Australia, but you don't have an Australian accent, and that's because she was born in Kansas, right? And then ended up in Australia. So she is you call yourself a Queensland, Australia-based formulator and founder of HappyPause Balm, which she will share. I actually wanted to share a little testimony. I put it on my eye, at this little redness magically disappeared. Sandy re-emerged from semi-retirement when she realized treatment for peri and postmenopausal and chemo-related intimate skin dryness hadn't changed in decades. So she set about redefining how we deal with dryness and made her high school chemistry teacher proud much later in life than expected. She's big on dryness or anything else for that matter, never being a death knell to doing the active things we love, which is why creating HappyPause has brought Sandy so much genuine joy during her, I love this, second spring. And I love that name, HappyPause, because it could be, right, a multitude of things. I think we all need to take a happy pause.
Absolutely.
And yet the menopause thing is such, and it's such a, I'm sure we were talking about it, very forbidden, uncomfortable subject, but it needs to be addressed. And I actually shared it with my 19-year-old when you said, now teenagers are experiencing it, right? And it's something that we
Yes.
need to address, that it's not just for like the older generation. And also, your magical cream helps with, I had my husband put it on his, the little redness after he shaves.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but you can't call it a menopause cream because men are going to be like, and he's like, no, I don't want to take it to work. I don't like, they're going to read the thing. I said, I'll put it by your desk. And it's like retraining what your cream is, because I think that's what you're doing now, right? You're realizing it could be for eczema, it could be for men and women, older women and teenagers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It started out as something I created solely because I was having a perimenopausal issue. So happy pause, the play on menopause, but it's more that happy pause, like in life, the whole picture, we never stop and give ourselves permission to just be. And sometimes something that brings us soothing comfort gives us that happy pause. So it's so much bigger now than menopause. And yeah, we all need that space to just be and feel good and just sigh and have
Yeah,
contentment.
sigh. That's what I'm realizing. We don't do enough sighing because we're on this like journey, and we have blinders on, and we feel like we don't have enough time, and we need to check off even my meditation things, like check. And then someone said, are you doing this meditation to just check it off your list? And I thought, oops, I guess I am. Right? Or in the middle of
Yeah.
meditation, I'm guilty of this. I'm going to do a meditation while I'm brushing my teeth. And it says, right now, just lay there. And I'm like doing something, but I'm like, you know what? I am listening. I am meditating, but I'm multitasking. And that's my message now. Do not multitask. So Sandy and I were talking about like, what can we talk about, since it is geared mostly towards parents? And I want you to share, you had a couple of really good stories, but what about the story about, I just went blank, the most recent story, and I said that needs to be shared. And I think it was
Yeah, that's actually going back to my childhood and me being very naughty and very fierce and
but
probably
who's to
still
say you're
haven't.
naughty though? You were a
Well,
superhero when you think about it. Share
well,
that
that's the
story,
thing,
please.
because I haven't changed a bit from that moment, to be honest, when something is so wrong, I suppose. But yes, so I was just swinging along happily at recess, having an absolute ball with my friend Troy. And then the two jock boys in my class were out on the footy field in front of the swings, and they laid into 2 boys, and it was 2 boys that it wasn't in their nature to fight back, and it had been a long time coming. And then they just wailed into them, and I flew out of my swing, running before my feet even hit the ground. I just jumped in and totally wailed on these 2 jocks and just get off. Ah. So they get carted off to the principal's office. I get carted off behind, still giving so much lip. I'm sat outside, indignant and raging with anger. And then feeling a little bit better, because it was back in the day of the principal having the big paddle. Feeling a little bit better because they both got 7 swats.
Whoa.
Largely because they were the popular boys, they were the jock boys. They should have known better and had a bit of leadership if they were excelling in sport, all the rest, with this very straight down the line principal. And I'm thinking, oh, can't believe this. And like everyone's going, oh God, a girl's going to get the paddle. So then it's my turn and I go in and I'm still just outraged. And I know I'm going to get paddled, but I'm like, but these boys should have known better. And the principal actually started laughing and had to cover his mouth so that the office didn't hear. And then he said, Sandy, my land, you are so right. And I'm so glad that you stepped in and did the right thing. And I'm like, I'm not in here to get in trouble. He said, you absolutely did the right thing. And standing up for those 2 boys was so courageous. However, you fought, and fighting is wrong. So I have to be seen to be metering out punishment. And he proceeded then to tell me how we were going to orchestrate the sound of me getting paddled and me not getting paddled if I never told. So I never told a single classmate that I didn't get paddled. I honored his, get out of jail free card or whatever.
Wow.
But it just always stayed in my heart that he said, good on you. Be a voice when someone else doesn't have the capacity to speak in the moment. And then I went home expecting then to get in big time trouble. And it was just lovely having my mom and my brother, that was always a champion for me, I guess, celebrate, feeling that I'd done the right thing.
Wow. And we need more of that, because I think children hesitate because they don't want to get in trouble. Right?
Yeah.
So you do stay in your own lane. You don't want to ruffle any feathers, I love that story. Thanks for sharing that. Let's get into the second story. We were talking about what is appropriate to say, what is not appropriate to say. But after having someone share the F word, I think the bitch word is actually used on nighttime TV, right? When people don't be a bitch because whatever. So I shared with Sandy that I was planning on getting a planner, and the cover of this one said, you call me a bitch like that's a bad thing. And I took a picture of it. And I'm thinking, I can't even use this because as a parent coach, it would, but I can share it like privately to people. So I'll send that to you. It's a 1950s lady, like all in a thing. And I just thought, we as mothers, what do we do? Because I love how you said, Karen, I need to tell you this funny story where you're not a mother until your daughter calls you a bitch. And I thought, I want to hear that story. And I think this story needs to be shared, because most moms would say, how dare you disrespect me, right? So I want to know what was your reaction, and let's hear it.
And before that, I should say, I've actually got a little magnet as well that says, listen, I'm a nice person. So if I'm being a bitch, you need to ask yourself why.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. But yes, I reckon that if you have teenage daughters and they haven't called you a bitch yet, hey, you're sailing through, and you might not even be doing it right if you haven't got to that stage, I reckon. So don't take it personally when things go wrong with teenage anger, because I was having a bit of a doozy with my daughter, and I was so disappointed because she wasn't actioning something to help her achieve a goal that she had had her heart set on for a very long time. And I did that terrible thing. My mother used to always say, never point because you've got 4 fingers pointing back at you.
Ooh.
But I pointed and I said, now listen, I know you think I'm being a bitch. And before I could even say the rest of my, but you need to, focus, apply yourself, whatever the thing was going to be, the mom speak. She said, how did you know? I've never called you a bitch to your face. And her best friend, Mark, was standing a few feet away, and he just went, oh. And we all just fell into a huge fit of laughter. And I loved it because she'd actually been whinging to him that I was a bit of a bitch and making her, work hard to achieve this goal. And now listen, I know you think I'm a bitch. Oh, how do you know I've never called you that to your face?
My younger one still thinks that I have mom power. She says, is it because you're a mom? And I'm like, so my older one says something like, well, you're the mom. When I ask her, right, we're planning this funeral. I don't know. You're the mom. And I'm like, what does that even mean? It's almost like you're the mom. You need to know like everything, or you're not acting like a mom.
Powers.
Yeah. Or you're not acting like a mom. Can you act like a mom? Which means what? That means I'm failing. Or what is your definition of acting like the appropriate mom? That's what we should be asking mothers. I mean, because what is?
Yeah. Well, I think when kids throw it at us, they're wanting us to be bossy, or they're wanting us to be the bossy person that does what they perceive as being a bitch behaviors because it helps them make the hard decisions.
Yes, or they want to know what to do, right? I don't know what to do. Can you, mom? Because the other day she said, I need to. Yeah, it's like, I need to do a really adult thing, and it has something to do with, whatever it is. And I'm thinking, especially at a certain age, 21, 25, what age is appropriate for them to act accordingly so that they don't need a mom's perspective? And who's to say that mom knows? That's what I'm saying. It's just my opinion. Do I really know the right answer? I'm owning it. I have no idea. And they look at you like, but you're mom. I think we have to really shed light on that. Otherwise, when it doesn't work out, well, why didn't you tell me you're mom?
Wait, and once they're grown, they have to own that bit. Like you just have to be their fallback soft landing and their protagonist of, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that?
But not telling them what to do, right?
Which can sometimes drive them to distraction because even though they're grown, they still just want us to take control and take the reins. And
well, you know what happens though? We tell them what to do or suggest, and they do the total opposite. And then you think, well, it could be something like, which shorts do you like, this one or this one? Oh, this looks nice. And then after a while, they choose the other one, right? It's like, why ask me? But then maybe, like you said, they just want our opinion. Is that what it is? I want mom's input.
Yeah, and sometimes I think that it's not even like sometimes once they've sort of transitioned into that adulthood, sometimes it's not even our opinion. And so we have to be able to kind of read the room and pick up on it because sometimes they don't really want our opinion. True. They just want us to mirror that, hey, the decision they're about to make is the right one. Yeah. So, and because we love them unconditionally and we have their back. And so sometimes having their back isn't then going into mom mode. It's sometimes just saying, you're onto something. That's going to work. I like that.
That's what I'm realizing, because I think I said something and she goes, well, maybe I should break up with him. And I was like, and then I said, you know what? You'll know what to do. You'll know exactly what to do. Because my fear is if she's going to be like 35 and go, you know what? I shouldn't have listened to you, or I should have been with so-and-so. And then I thought, is that me though? See, that would bother me. If they regret something that they should have done that I don't know, was for, is it my fault that I didn't convince them to do what they feel now that they regret? What do we do?
And I guess so I quite often do the Our Kids Are Grown dance. And
yeah,
one of my big things with Our Kids Are Grown is that if we have done everything within our power to be the best possible parent we could be when they were dependent on us as children, or if we've then, even if we haven't, if we go to the path of doing everything we can for them. We've given them the tools. They just have to follow their intuition, and they know in the stillness of their own being what's right. So they don't necessarily need our opinion or even need to know our opinion sometimes.
Oh, I love that. They don't need to need well, but have you ever had like your daughters say, and I didn't realize I did this, in the morning, like you would have been a totally different parent if you did all this stuff that you're sharing with parents. You would just, and I don't remember this, I guess I would turn on the light, and instead of saying good morning, having like a really I'd be like, you know what, okay, we're leaving in about 45 minutes, breakfast is here, da da da. And I thought, I did. And I think I was probably up, and by the time I woke them up, I wanted to, right, do my schedule. So what do you say to parents who think I messed up?
We all mess up. That happens. That's life. And the thing that happened, I think the thing where we can move and grow from those mess ups is just taking the message away and being conscious of it to make the next step better. And if it is that we feel like we've messed up and now our kids are grown, hey, there is nothing wrong with doing a mea culpa, and putting your hand up and asking for their love and their acceptance and their forgiveness. And
I've been doing that. And then sometimes like I repeat it again and like, Mom, I don't know, you seem to like not, I've moved on from that. Because I never swore. And then my daughter, how when you cook rice, I thought she knew, and she put the water like not in the pot with the rice. So it spread over my planner that had like everything. I didn't have a backup thing. And so I think I swore. I said, what were you thinking? And I replay it. She's 11. And my friend said, did you really like teach her the steps? And I thought, well, she's watched me, hundreds of times. And I really regret that. And we bring it up. Are you still just thinking about the rice thing? And I go, yeah. And then also when find hamburger meat, and they're not taught that you have to look for ground beef. I'm like, what do you mean they don't have hamburger meat? They always have hamburger meat. No, it's not there. What is that? What does it say hamburger meat? It says ground beef. And you realize what we think is common sense.
Yeah.
But we get upset that they don't know this and this and this.
And we just haven't done all the explanation because we didn't know. We took it for granted, the knowledge.
We took it for granted. But also I have a 5-year-old, and then my dad's like, how many times do I have to tell you, stop putting your fingers in your mouth? You know why you have that rash? And it was a little Incredible Hulk. Am I going to be taken? Is it going to be taken away? No, but you cannot put him in your mouth. You cannot put anything in your mouth. You cannot. And then he's going on. And of course, what does he do 2 minutes later? He puts stuff in his mouth. And then you listen to this, conversation, and you realize it's because he's 5, or it's because they're 12. It's because even though they're adults, they have a different mindset. They have different, thought process, but we just are furious. So how do you, since you've had experience dealing with this, oh my gosh, what do you do when you're in that moment?
You have to try to flip and think from their mindset, I think. Probably more than anything, that thing of being able to realize that there's another view or another perception and just see how they're thinking and then try to reframe it.
Definitely. Because do you put yourself in your shoes when they were like 16 or when they were in their 20s, right? Or when you were, and then you realize, oh, what would I want to hear? And it's definitely not what's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah. Well, and even things like, I don't know, we were really selfish as teens. Like we were and not really selfish in a bad way, but like we were focused on our group of friends and what we were wanting to achieve at school or what we were wanting to do. We weren't always focused when we were away from home about what our parents might have been thinking or planning or organizing. So then sometimes we forget that when we're parents and we've got all these plans maybe on the weekend, and we forget that our kids have a life as well. And that's why they think we've ruined their life, because we've got these plans that they didn't really want to participate in.
Oh my gosh, that happens a lot.
Yeah. So sometimes we just forget, and we have to give our kids that leeway that we needed when we were teenagers as well.
I think that mindset will change, is life changing, because then you really think about what is priority and whose priority
Yeah.
should we focus on, right? Because we
Yeah.
think I know a lot of parents, right? This is my house, do things according to my way, or get out. And I think my friend's husband says that, and that I think the child, he's been saying that since she was like 5. If you think you're so charismatic, but you wait, and you're talking to a 5-year-old girl, but then you realize, I mean, what is bad parenting? What is good parenting? I think when we rip our child's self-esteem, I'm realizing that I did say a lot of like, I thought it was good to say, I'm really disappointed in you because I'm owning my feelings. Then you realize the one thing you should never say is, I'm disappointed in you. And I was like, so I had to like you said, I owned it and said, you know what? Mom shouldn't have said that. Because she did say, I'd rather you yell at me. I'd rather you scold me. But when you say, she got really upset. I'm like, I don't know why you're upset. I'm just being honest. And then you think, how would you like it if your boss or your significant other or even a
Yeah.
friend said, I'm really disappointed in you? You would feel crushed.
Yeah.
So is there something that, like in your experience, what's a better way to say when you are, what's a better thing to say if you are disappointed?
Well, for me with kids, they know.
That's true. You don't even have to say it.
Yeah. So they know. So acknowledge that they know that you know. And then instead of directly talking about the feelings towards what happened, talk about what we're going to do next and how we're going to make the next time better or different, and focus on the improvement of the next step rather than
Well,
yeah.
I've taught my family like fresh starts. We might have like 500 fresh starts before like noon, because otherwise you feel, right? You ruined my day. Or I used to do this. It's Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day. Can I just have like one day? Mother's Day and birthdays, right? And there's always, I realize I put so much pressure, and someone either cries, or like Chelsea wanted to eat, like they would make this really nice breakfast, served it to me in bed. And of course she would like, I don't know, eat the fruit or want something. And then that would cause the other sister, this is mom's. And you look at this whole interaction, you think, this is Mother's Day. Are you guys arguing? And I'm sure the older daughter, 6 years older, wants everything to be fine. Then the younger one is like, you gave mom her card and I didn't make one yet. And then they leave the room, and I hear, arguing.
Actually, on that
Wow,
note,
that is a huge.
so this is one of my life treasures,
Wow.
and it was from our daughters. And one of the things that it's such a treasure, because I got really upset when our girls were fighting one day, and I think it might have been either around Easter or Mother's Day. I love you heaps and heaps, and Nicola loves you as well. She just has a different way of showing it than the rest of us. I'm so sorry that we upset you when we're fighting, and we don't mean to make you sad. I love you heaps and heaps.
Oh, I love that.
Oh.
That is huge too. Yeah, I have little poster. We just found a card and it says, "Happy birthday, mom." And then she says, "I promise to clean my area." I'm like, oh my gosh, this is still happening. Your area turned into your room. It's like, and then this one broke my heart. It's like, sorry, mom, I got you mad. Can we play the game again? And I think I got really upset, and I might have just, I think I just, did like a 3-year-old thing, and I probably ruined the game board, and it was probably Candyland. I don't know if someone cheated. I don't even remember what happened. But obviously I was so upset and I wasn't going to play. To have like a 4-year-old say, sorry, would you play the game again? I'm really sorry. And I thought, then you kind of cringe saying, right? Because you're trying to
but
be responsible.
don't carry guilt and burden over that, because we actually still joke about skip-bo in our family, because I stopped us playing skip-bo because I don't even remember which one of our kids. Or might have even been
What
my
is
husband.
that?
Somebody cheated. It was a card game, kind of like
Oh,
Uno.
okay. Yeah.
But it's the big joke now. Oh, we can't play skip-bo because we'll cheat, and cheating's wrong. So
And you know what I
hey,
did?
don't be.
I changed the rules. It was like the rich dad, poor dad game. And I said the person with the least amount of money will win. And I'm thinking, why did I even do that? I get into my only child mode, and my dad always said, I didn't teach you to lose. And he really took that to heart, because, when I share I'm vulnerable, that I did try to take my life at 30, and I'm thinking how horrible for my dad to blame himself. It had nothing to do with teaching me to lose, because life teaches you how to lose,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
And so often I think some of the best lessons are in losing, because we realize that wasn't where our path should be, and we can redirect.
what if it comes to games?
Yeah, I'm not the one to talk to about games, I suppose, because we had our youngest daughter was off at Christmas. It's so exciting because both of our kids are in very high pressure jobs, which usually require people to be on at Christmas. So it's a really big deal if they get Christmas off.
So they're flying over? Or are you flying over?
Well, they're both here in Australia, and one is in the outback, and then one is with the police force down in a regional area. So we were so excited 2 years ago when our youngest had Christmas off. So she flew in, and it was so awesome. And I actually cleaned the board and wiped everybody up on Monopoly, and there were no prisoners. And I realized that it was the first time I'd won at Monopoly since I was probably 12. Because when we played Monopoly with our kids, I made sure I never went in for any of those like killer moves or whatever, because I didn't want to be the one to wipe the board.
Interesting.
And, let them be able to thrive and win as well. So it was just hilarious, because my daughter went, oh my God, I can't believe I'm nearly 40 and I've realized that this is the first time you've played Monopoly naturally.
Oh my gosh, that is funny.
But it still comes up now that I love that you let us win at Monopoly.
Well, that's the thing, right? But if it's Monopoly, that's one thing. If it's Candyland, my oldest daughter just realized, because I would say, oh, you can do my step 2, take my turn, which meant I didn't really play. Because if she was little, she did her turn, and then she did my turn, and I could do my thing and just say, okay, you can go for me. She goes, yeah, I actually play that game by myself, Mom.
Oh.
I was in the room, but I was okay, you can move for me. You can, do the dice thing. But I thought, that kind of thing, when it's luck and they lose, it's a lesson that they need to learn. Because sometimes it has nothing to do with life being fair.
Absolutely. And on a completely divergent thing to that, though, it's a completely divergent thing. I was just listening to an amazing podcast with this fellow, Jamie Steadman, and he had a retired senior police officer that he was interviewing. And he'd had a bit of a breakdown on the police force, and walked away from the police. And he said that one of the best things that happened for him after he left the police was he was actually present with his kids, and he didn't realize that his entire time as an officer, he had never been present, because even if he was playing a game with them or something, he had his phone right beside him, or they were playing and he was only kind of half engaging while he was still doing work or checking or giving other officers directives and things. But it's so important. We're so over connected now to the outside world that all this digital thing is forcing us to be so connected, that when we put our phones completely down and put them on silent, even though everyone else loses their mind when we come back and we've not been contactable for 2 hours. Right. It is an amazing time within our circle of those people that we love the most. And I think we've got to start making an effort to be disconnected from everything else and just be present in that moment with our kids more often.
What I'm realizing is sometimes I hear, wow, mom and dad are the only ones on their phone. And I'll say something like, I have to respond to the student's mom, or I have to, and then you realize, do you really have to? But of course, with me, I'm afraid that if I don't respond right then and there, I might forget, or, but then you realize I don't know. I could just write it down, right? Because sometimes I'm like, I'm going to just do this real quick thing. Or I kind of make a mental note. Okay, there's one thing I have to do. If there's anything, I'll remember one thing. And then you pray that you do remember. And then if you don't, someone said that, and if you don't, guess what? It'll pop up.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
not the end of
true.
the world, right? It's not the end of the world, but sometimes I guess you just feel that,
That it is. And we need to be more like in a lot of the Scandinavian countries now, it's actually unacceptable from a workplace perspective to respond to emails or texts outside of rostered hours. Don't we need to take a leaf out of their book a little bit? Wouldn't that be so much better for all of us from a mental health perspective if we weren't forced to be connected for fear of losing that client or that contact?
or not looking professional or responsible or accountable, right?
Yeah. I love that
Interesting.
they've got it going on in Scandinavia.
Well, that's the name. What is is it the happiest place on earth? Was it Denmark? I forgot. There's a book that I actually saw in the library, and it's like the happiest place on earth. And it's because they're more there's like tips that they do to make sure that if you think about it, if you make happiness a priority, you will live life differently,
Exactly.
because your
Yeah.
priorities will change. And even though you're working, um, I don't know. I just thought parenting can be tough. It is just, like you said, there's no right or wrong. But as we close, what do you think is, oh, wait, I have to have you share about HappyPause, your short story about what it is and why people need it.
Yeah. So just quickly. Yeah. It's parenting is so much more
It's so
important than what I do.
No, but you're changing parents' lives, especially, like the moms that are, a lot of moms started later. I had my youngest when I was 38. And now people are having children in their 40s, right? Because they realize I want to like
Yeah.
live a little, travel, do my thing. And then I heard
And
someone say, yeah, someone told their daughter, your life ends when you have children. She's like 31 now. I'm like, why did her, I mean, I get it. But when you say that, then you're lengthening the time. And you're like, well, geez, if my life's going to end, do I even want to be a mother? Right. But please share.
well, yeah. So I had so much trouble during perimenopause with developing dryness. And I've since discovered now that 78% of us over 40 will experience intimate dryness. So that's not, I don't mean intimate dryness like for having sex. I mean, just intimate dryness overall that affects our sense of well-being. So it can make us wriggle. It can make us not be able to focus, maybe not sit still at the movies.
Mhm.
And when I finally realized that the only options that were being offered were these huge dose things, I realized that's why less than 20% of us ever actually do anything about it, because it's gross. And then we're not our happy, beautiful selves. So I tried to buy a few things. It didn't work. They were still the same. So I thought, no, I'm going to redo this. And I kind of set dryness on its head.
Such a
And
beautiful, when I received, I'm like, it is such a beautiful, beautiful thing, like the wood
it,
design that you have, just,
yeah.
I mean, that's something that you want to keep even after you use it all. I don't know it's just beautiful. The colors,
Oh,
the wood.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It's something that makes
Well,
me
and
happy
even
just looking at it.
so, and part of the happiness of the design and the creation is that I went back to my best friend that I went through puberty with, and she helped me do the design. So it's that lovely testament of, those when we tell our kids, if you find a really great friend, they'll be with you for your life. It's so true.
Wow.
There's been times when we've been busy in life and sort of disconnected, and then we reconnect. And I just love that she was like the soul sister of bringing this all together. But the thing I've discovered with perimenopause is we used to always think it was something that happened to our grandmothers, and we didn't think about the fact that perimenopause hits us in our 40s, which is part of why also we delay getting anything done about it. And then you add now that we have delayed parenting.
Yes.
So we're dealing with sometimes teenage daughters or preteens while we're dealing with perimenopause. We've got too much on our plate. How are we supposed to juggle all this and sort out this extra irritability and the hormonal roller coaster? And if it's a teenager and us,
That's what
whoa, the
someone
house is
told
even.
us. Yeah, someone said what you're going through towards the end of your phase is exactly what and I have 2 daughters, right? And then I have 2 female dogs. We rescued a female kitten, and then my mom, right? So when all of us were here, I thought my poor husband, And my daughter would say, I'm just apologizing for everything that I say and do next week because I'm going to be on my period. And I would say, well, I'm going to apologize for anything I do for the rest of my life. I'm going to cover all bases. Because I notice that I always say, I'm stressed, so I am. And you like justify it, right? I'm stressed,
Yeah.
I'm whatever it is. But your cream doesn't just help with perimenopause and menopause. Share
No,
what.
so not just perimenopause and menopause. I have got a huge following now of women that have gone through chemo and are on their cancer recovery journey. I had no idea that chemo then wreaked havoc with all of our natural lubrication in our body. And also diabetes, type 1 diabetes. I never knew that you had fluctuating dryness with that, and endometriosis.
Oh.
And then something else I've discovered as a beautiful side product for younger women. So many of my perimenopausal ladies have teenage daughters. And when you first start your period as a teen, you have that fluctuation where you can have these flooding events or like really heavy periods,
Yes.
just like you get hit with in perimenopause. And they're not any easier to deal with in perimenopause than they were when we were 14. But then those young women as well can struggle with dryness after their cycle when they have those heavy events. So who knew that HappyPause, that started out of desperation during menopause, was going to be such a big ripple effect for so many women from all demographics and all ages.
But not even for women. Now you're
And
realizing,
yeah,
like, if you know, like eczema that you said on the back of your neck, or just any kind of skin issue, really.
yeah, and I have a lot of people using them on, insect bites or things that they need to,
Ooh.
be able to walk away from and not, yeah.
And that's like non-gender. I mean,
Feet,
everyone.
yeah.
Oh, I never thought of that. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
just
some
more and
people
more
have,
people tell me,
yeah,
and I said,
because for
yeah,
feet,
wow.
yeah, because I mean, it cracks. I remember my cousin, I mean, when it's
Mm,
so dry that it actually cracks and bleeds. And then you realize
yeah,
something so simple that you
yeah, and even
created.
oh, and
Oh,
you
your
said that
lips.
on your eyes at
Yeah,
night,
I
but I've
wasn't
got quite a
sure.
few
Yeah,
ladies now that use it on their lips as well.
I never thought of that. Well, because
Which,
sometimes it'll peel, right? And then you just want just a little
yeah.
something, but you don't want it to be,
And the issue, I guess, is the longevity, because with our vulval and vaginal skin, as it thins, when we apply something, we actually need something that lasts and has longevity. So in creating HappyPause, it's something that will last all day or all night. So then it just has that nice feeling, on your lips as well. Or yeah.
Oh, well, that's good to know because people are constantly applying, right?
Eh.
I didn't know that. It's so pretty, Sandy. I mean, what you did is life-changing. Oh, and share the award that you
Yes,
received.
I am so just, well, still kind of speechless. I feel like a teenager again. I won a national award called the Wildcat of the Year. So the top national award for a new business for making a difference for women. And I just, when my name was called out, I was absolutely speechless. I'm just so thrilled to have something that has been created in relation to menopause be acknowledged and awarded and celebrated, instead of then us, mentioning the menopause word and everyone shirking away in shame.
Yes.
Shouldn't be like that. It's a natural transition, and it's a transition into our next period of power and wisdom.
Oh, I love
So
that.
we need to celebrate it and find a way to get through all those horrific symptoms and fluctuations and things. And yeah, so
Well, and then
so
we don't have
nice.
to like suffer through it. I mean, you actually have given like a life-saving, right, magical cream that we don't have to suffer. I mean, that's amazing. It's like, who would have even thought
And
of that?
everyone's journey is different with menopause, but I know, like with me, actually finding that solution to dryness made every other symptom so much more manageable and made some of them just disappear from me. So it's that thing, like sometimes you
Wow.
just think, oh, dryness, or you get really defensive and say, oh, that wouldn't be me, but you don't know that it's moderate dryness, and then you relieve it, and all of a sudden everything else is so much easier through the whole day.
Wow. It's almost like when you have a tiny mosquito bite. I was just with a 5-year-old and he's like, and he couldn't stop scratching.
Yeah.
Right. And you tell them, just don't focus on it. Don't focus on it. But then, when you have something that's bothering you, right, it could just be that tiny, it's like the tiniest mosquito. And they always say,
Mm,
right, it's just
yeah.
something. But thank you so much. This has been so fun. What a perfect way to segue into the holidays. You have your beautiful Christmas tree. That's my the little smiley face. I
Yep.
have that as my brain builder. My brain builder mascot, I guess you can say, is like the happy face, but he's holding an apple in a book. I mean, that's what I started in 1999, like little stick figure guy. But I love that. Took a lot of work. Don't get your
Oh,
tinsel
awesome.
in a
Oh,
tangle.
the
Oh my
tangle.
gosh.
And
I love that.
I should say for anybody that struggles with the holidays, my
Me.
presence, so my presence here with you with the Christmas tree was deliberate for anybody that struggles with the holidays, just to say, do the holidays your way. And every year is different. And you don't have to have your holiday traditions visible. Like there are years where you can just have an Christmas or an unholiday, and
You
there
know
is
what?
nothing wrong with
I
that.
did that. I actually canceled Christmas one year. I didn't want to do the 100 Christmas cards, the letters about like what happened in that year, and the world didn't end. Then I had to release the guilt
Yes.
of not having gifts. I would say, you know what, this year told everyone we're going to just exchange like a good that we baked. And then someone gave me the baked good plus the presents. And it kind of like got me upset. But I thought, you know, if they want to give me a gift, I do not have to reciprocate. I gave the baked goods and that's fine. But the
Absolutely.
pressure of giving something right, and certain people are going to give you like really, really
Mhm.
good gifts. And then you think, oh my gosh, what am I going to get? And now with this funeral planning thing, I'm like, you guys, we have to do Thanksgiving and then my mom's funeral is the next day. But of course, I'm thinking, we have to do
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, but the shoulds, that's the thing. Like, I love what you just said. Celebrate the holidays the way you want, and it doesn't even have to be visible.
Yes. And that's the thing. Like, well, so do you your
Yes.
way, and you are enough, really, no matter what decisions you make, you are enough. And you can have a year that is based on nothing. And that is so fine. And we had a number of years in our life, even though like we're totally Christmas nuts, obviously, but we've had plenty of years with no Christmas. And we've actually got my mom's ashes here on our
Oh
tree. And
my
we've got a
gosh.
little photo of, so we had just a few little bits of ashes in amulets that we retained, but her ashes in bulk were dispersed via fireworks in Hilo on the big island of Hawaii at the Makulu Island, the place of refuge. So the place of refuge, so that she would always feel connected to us at a place of peace that would then spread out. And then what we didn't realize at the time, and one of the Samoan pyrotechnicians told us that he actually packed some of the fireworks so that they would actually touch the tops of the coconut trees, so that her spirit would connect to us through coconut trees to the ground. Kind of cool,
Wow.
an added bonus. But anyway, so we dispersed her ashes via fireworks because her request was for it to be joy filled, and it was, and it was amazing. But we also had a lot of sadness after she left. So we did have a year without Christmas, just because we didn't feel right with my mom not being on the planet. And then we decided, our kids actually decided, Grandma's Christmas. So we're doing Christmas, and we're just going to make Grandma a part of Christmas.
I love it. Now you give
So,
me ideas.
and that's more of that thing of, do you, and do it your way, whatever it is, whether it's having an unholiday, do it, maybe baking the favorite things of someone that passed, or being somebody's escape plan. If they're having a really hard holiday and they're being bombarded with all of those shoulds, like you said about,
Yes, yes.
be their escape plan, or even be their fake escape plan. Offer to ring them on Christmas Day when is they're about at the time where things are going to start to trigger, and be their false emergency.
I love
Like,
that false emergency.
yeah, just help people be able to have that breathing space and less pressure, and just make
And
this
have a
time of year.
have a happy pause. I think we all should need a happy pause, whether it's the holidays or not, but we need extra happy pauses because there is too many, like, especially when you're the shoulds of, I don't know if you did this when they're little, you're like, we have to get like the right gifts. And then when you go shopping, you just get like anything because you're like in that mode where we have to. And I would make purchases like getting a ball. I remember one year I did a ball pit. I don't know what I was thinking, but you just need something. And then as you get older, I'm thinking, you know what? I think this year the Waikoloa trip is going to be our Christmas thing because I don't want to shop. And I'm thinking I am pressured in not having any arguments, but you know what? That's going to be my gift that if they do argue, that it's not on me to referee. Because someone just said that, Mom, she blah, blah. And I'm like, they're 19 and
No.
25. And I just said, I'm going to let you guys figure it out. And I walked away and I thought, how freeing was that? You're two adults. And then sometimes like my husband's there. And then I'm like, I have 3 children. You know what? I'm not going to do this. You know, when you know that your husband's acting like a child and it was over some kind of dessert thing. And I'm looking at them thinking, I must remove myself. I must remove myself without guilt though, right? So that's how we'll end this. Take a happy pause, no matter what you're doing throughout your day. Take multiple happy pauses. And like Sandy's board says, do you your way because you are enough. And that's what our friend Deslin always says, right? You are enough exactly the way that you are. And I love that. Oh, and Sandy and I will have to plug this weekend's event.
Yes.
We're going to be part of a healing summit with Deslin Hakias, and I'm excited. It's going to be the day after for you. Is that Sunday for you?
Yeah, so it'll be Saturday, the 13th of November for everyone else. And then just
Except
those of
you.
us that are this side of the international date line, it'll be Sunday morning. So yeah, you can register via Eventbrite, and I think you can find it on any of the Healing with Aloha sites, or actually on my HappyPause_menopause on Instagram and HappyPause on Facebook. We've got the little link as well. And I think I've seen the link with you too.
Yeah, we're all trying to promote it, and it's going to be amazing. There's 6 of us who will share how to heal in our own ways. I'm really excited about it, and I will see you. It's so perfect to have this interview right when we're doing a joint event. So thank you so much, Sandy. I know we'll have to just keep in touch and have another like off-air chat because Destin has really introduce like amazing, like not just friends and not just people who connect with us in a professional way, but I feel like I met a soul sister. Plus I told my family, now I know someone in Australia.
I know you've got an excuse now to put it on the bucket list.
Because we want to see your zoo, Australia.
Australia Zoo. Yeah.
Yeah. The one with Irwin's, right? Is that the one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I need to see a koala. And you guys have sloths too, right? Do you have sloths? I'm trying to do this.
We have sloths in captivity, but we don't have sloths as
so you could actually see one.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm just so obsessed with them.
Well, so when you come, I will give you like a wildlife fantasy itinerary.
Oh my gosh. I gotta plan it. I told them before, by the time I'm 60, or so that's like in 3 years, I'm going to have to do something. I've been talking about Australia. My daughters have been just really obsessed with Australia. Sabrina almost had a job opportunity and we're like, oh, geez. I think Chelsea wanted to go to college, but it's, I think a little too far if you're, depending on where you're at emotionally. I can't like just hop on a plane and go to Australia. But thank you. Thank you so much. And I will see you this Saturday for me, Sunday for you.
All right, awesome. And no guilt ever. Banish that parent
guilt ever. I'm going to practice that starting from now and then release it if I do feel guilt.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Sandy. Take care. Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.